Oh my God. Hello?
What?
Something flew up. What the?
You're lying. What do you mean
Serious.
flew up? Are you being for real?
No,
Shh.
What would you do if a huge figure appeared through a blinding snowstorm, or silently watched your campsite from the trees? These Bigfoot encounter stories may leave you questioning what's really hiding in the wilderness. A bridge is meant to connect one side to another, but the bridge shown in this footage may link the ordinary world to something far more sinister. What happened there left the investigators questioning whether the local stories were more than simple folklore. Deep within the forests of Denton, Texas, an old iron bridge has been linked to decades of disturbing legends. Its reputation is so unsettling that some locals refuse to say its name after nightfall.
My viewer, Trace. No, I'm kidding. This is my friend, Trace. And then the professional ding.
So you believe in Goatman?
I'm a big believer in anything paranormal.
He haunts me in my dreams.
Right, we just found the bridge. It wasn't that deep in. Holy
I don't
shit.
want to foot on it. I feel weird
Yeah,
stepping foot on it.
what?
This is Goatman's bridge. Man is an evil spirit on this bridge. And so that's why we brought a lot of ghost equipment to... There's a lot of other theories around the woods surrounding this. I feel like we should do that first.
On December 9, 2023, the YouTube channel Groovy Gavin uploaded a video featuring a team of investigators exploring Old Alton Bridge, better known as Goatman's Bridge. Local legend claims that a creature believed to be half man and half goat roams the bridge and the nearby woods. Some versions even say it has lured visitors into the darkness. Residents have also reported unexplained disappearances and disturbing noises around the area after dark.
This is the...
I thought. I'm sorry.
That's a hole.
Oh,
Now that's actually interesting. What?
There's another hole right there.
oh, what the... Bro, if there is a
phone.
cat down here, dude, I'm gonna lose my... It's like squishy.
Oh my. Wait, what?
There might be cats buried in here.
Hoping to uncover the truth, the investigators begin searching the dense forest surrounding the bridge. Their first objective is to examine rumors of occult activity hidden in the woods. As they move through the area, they discover several deep holes scattered across the damp ground. No one knows who dug them or why they are there. The soil around the openings feels unusually soft and unstable. While inspecting the strange pits, the investigators begin wondering whether something may be buried beneath the forest floor.
I'm feeling pretty happy.
Yeah.
I feel good.
I'm happy as well.
Oh, I thought I saw a figure, bro. I almost started running.
This is what we're looking for.
I'm sure if I see that, I'll notice. Why'd you have to show that right now?
It's not what we're looking for.
What? Something flew up. What the?
You're lying. What do you
serious.
mean flew up? Bro, I heard a crazy... Did you hear a scream? I'm hearing some weird... Dude.
After nothing but hearing weird sounds, I had one final strategy to lure out Goatman.
The Goatman's name is Steven, apparently.
Steven!
Only his friends call him Steve.
Yeah, you know. I can do a goat call. Should I do that? I used to be able. I used to be
was
really
not
good
bad.
at.
That was not bad, actually. That's a dog.
Yeah.
We'll listen
Yeah,
for the
okay,
call
okay,
back.
okay. Oh my god.
Bro, it looks exactly like this.
The atmosphere changes as the group ventures deeper into the woods. One investigator is suddenly overwhelmed by an intense feeling of fear. At nearly the same moment, another team member notices a dark figure moving between the distant trees. Before anyone can identify it, a loud piercing screech echoes through the forest. The eerie sound resembles a terrified woman screaming somewhere in the darkness.
You heard the screams from...
Oh!
Hey, he saw Goatman.
Glow eyes?
No,
Over there?
Yeah.
I swear right over there.
Right over there?
Yeah.
Oh, don't say that shit.
No, like for real.
No, don't.
Wait, it was like right back in that corner. Let's go down here. Turn off all your lights. Turn off all your lights. All the lights.
This guy seems like he knows what he's doing.
After following this dude for about an hour, we realized he was just trolling us.
At the bridge. I think everyone's left at this point. I think it's like 1:30 or 2 to see if Goatman is a evil spirit like people claim. Okay, these are literally 2 normal flashlights. I'm gonna give these to you because I feel like you'll validate. So see, like a normal flashlight, right?
Yeah.
And then this is the other thing we have. Basically, I'll turn this on, and it's a motion sensor.
Shortly after midnight, the investigators return to the bridge. The host prepares several pieces of ghost hunting equipment including motion sensors and flashlights used for spirit communication. The team strikes the old metal bridge, hoping to provoke whatever may be nearby. They repeatedly call out, asking the reported spirit to reveal itself and confirm its presence.
Pants all the way down. The water is coming right out.
All right, man. This has not ever happened while I'm alone. If there's something here, I'm coming over to turn off the motion detector. I'm going to turn it back on now.
Later, the host remains completely alone on the bridge. Activity around him suddenly appears to increase. Bushes begin rustling, and the motion sensors activate even though no person or animal can be seen nearby. Nothing ever steps into view, yet the unexplained sounds and repeated equipment activity leave the host visibly shaken. By the end of the investigation, Goatman's Bridge continues to hold its reputation as a place connected to strange and unexplained events. Sounds often behave unpredictably in forests at night. Echoes, distance, and thick trees can make an animal call resemble a human voice, but that alone does not explain everything the investigators experienced. Do you think they encountered something paranormal? Or was the darkness making ordinary events seem much more dangerous? The road was slowly disappearing beneath the snow. Beyond the headlights, a dark figure stood perfectly still before suddenly fading from view. On March 14, 2020, the YouTube channel Backcountry Sightings uploaded footage showing a vehicle traveling through a powerful snowstorm. Heavy snow buried the road beneath thick white layers, reducing visibility to almost nothing as the vehicle pushed deeper into the frozen wilderness. Its headlights carved only narrow paths through the storm, while the surrounding forest became increasingly difficult to see. Near the edge of the visible snowline, a dark shape briefly emerged from the whiteout. It appeared too large and too well defined to be easily dismissed as part of the landscape or a simple visual illusion.
This is not like a terrorist attack or a natural disaster, because this is something that's going to unfold. It's been unfolding for months. It's going to continue to unfold.
As the vehicle continued forward, the tension grew. The figure seemed to remain motionless beyond the curtain of snow, as if silently watching from the point where visibility came to an end. Then the radio signal suddenly dissolved into static. Whatever had been standing there never appeared to move. It simply vanished from sight. A complete whiteout can distort distance size and even familiar shapes. But does that fully explain what the camera recorded? A trail of enormous footprints appeared in the snow east of Seattle. The strides were so wide that investigators struggled to match them. Then the tracks suddenly ended without revealing what had left them behind. CTV News reported the unusual discovery after residents found a long line of massive footprints crossing a snow-covered area. The impression suggested that something extremely large had traveled through the community. Sasquatch investigators arrived to examine the site. They photographed the footprints, documented the trail, and carefully measured the distance between each step. The tracks were spaced 4 to 6 feet apart. Investigators repeatedly attempted to recreate the same walking pattern, but none of them succeeded.
There's 4 feet right there.
An investigator measures an unusual series of footprints left in the snow in Washington state to replicate the 4 to 6 foot strides required to leave the trail.
Filmed them, actually followed the trail in the snow to where the Sasquatch apparently stepped onto some ground.
One researcher even took time off from work to record the evidence. He followed the trail through the snow until it reached softer ground, where the footprints suddenly disappeared. A cast was made from one of the prints for closer examination. Wildlife biologist Bender Nogal later presented what he believed was compelling evidence connected to the legendary creature. His presentation included witness sketches, photographs of footprints, deep impressions in the ground, and casts taken from tracks that appeared too large to belong to any known animal. Nogal displayed this evidence during public events in several communities, including a scheduled presentation in Cumberland.
The eyewitness descriptions, eyewitness drawings, tracks and track photographs and track casts.
Those casts are included in presentations Bindernagel gives to the public in various locations.
I don't know who's in the audience, and I assume that there's a lot of skeptics.
Before the gathering, he expected both skeptics and undecided visitors to attend. Soft snow can spread beneath heavy weight, making footprints appear larger and strides seem longer. But if ordinary movement created this trail, why couldn't investigators reproduce it? And what caused the footprints to suddenly end? A peaceful camping trip took an unsettling turn when two brothers noticed a large figure moving beyond their campsite. It stood silently among the trees, appeared to watch them, and then disappeared into the forest. In 2006, the brothers traveled deep into the wilderness of British Columbia for a camping trip. The region was known for its untouched scenery and dense ancient forests. They expected a relaxing getaway surrounded by nature. Towering trees and distant wildlife created a peaceful atmosphere as they set up camp and prepared to spend the night outdoors. They had no idea the remote forest would soon become the setting for an experience they would never forget. The day began quietly as the brothers filmed the landscape around them. The evening sun filtered through the trees and spread across the forest floor. While recording, they noticed movement in the distance. At first they assumed it was a bear, since bears were common in the area. They continued what they were doing, believing it was simply another wildlife sighting. But the figure did not move like a bear. It appeared unusually large, with a hunched yet controlled posture. Curious and increasingly uneasy, the brothers turned their camera toward the spot where they had seen it. Through the lens, the shape became easier to make out.
Quick, stay back!
The figure stood among the thick vegetation and moved slowly and deliberately. Even from a distance, in the fading light, the brothers felt it did not resemble any ordinary animal. Then it stopped. The figure appeared to notice them and remained motionless, almost as though it were watching them in return. After several tense moments, it quietly retreated into the shadows and disappeared without making much noise. Shaken by the encounter, the brothers decided to pack up their equipment and leave. The forest that had seemed peaceful only hours earlier now felt threatening, and the silence surrounding them no longer seemed comforting. During the drive home, they barely spoke. They could not stop thinking about the figure's strange stillness and deliberate movements. Their fear never completely overcame their curiosity. Later that night, they returned with flashlights and their camera, hoping to find an explanation. Instead, what they discovered made the incident even more mysterious.
Look at that. He ran backwards, right? Over there somewhere. See, that could be a possible footprint. I don't know. Could be. Like, look.
In the soft ground near the place where the figure had stood, the brothers found several large, deeply impressed tracks. The prints were much larger than a human footprint. They appeared somewhat human in shape, but didn't resemble any ordinary tracks the brothers recognized. They recorded the impressions and examined their size and depth. The deep prints suggested that whatever left them may have been extremely heavy. As they followed the trail, the brothers reflected on the figure they had seen. They estimated it stood more than 6 feet tall, with a hunched posture and smooth movements that seemed strangely human. The way it had paused and silently watched them remained one of the most disturbing parts of the encounter. Discovering the tracks only strengthened their belief that they had witnessed something unusual. As news of the story spread, different explanations emerged. People interested in cryptids pointed out similarities between the figure and reports of Sasquatch. Its height, posture, and deliberate movements matched details commonly described in stories about the legendary creature. Skeptics argued it may have been a bear standing on its hind legs, or someone playing a prank. However, the brothers believed the remote location and the large tracks made those explanations difficult to accept. The experience completely changed how they viewed the wilderness. A place that had once seemed beautiful and peaceful now felt filled with hidden possibilities. To them, the ancient forest appeared to hold secrets that could not be easily explained. The encounter remains unresolved to this day. Did they mistake an ordinary animal for something extraordinary? Or did they capture evidence of a creature still hidden deep within the wilderness of British Columbia? The next video comes from the YouTube channel Yetigan Outdoors. Over the past 4 years, Johan has shared wild camping and survival adventures that highlight both the beauty and the challenges of spending time in nature. This time, Johan sets out for another camping trip. Instead of simply enjoying a quiet night in the wilderness, however, he decides to conduct a paranormal investigation because he believes the area may be connected to something unusual. The video was uploaded on February 21st, 2025. Taking advantage of the pleasant weather, Johan searches for a suitable place to spend the night. After choosing the location, he settles in with a hot cup of coffee and enjoys the peaceful surroundings before sunset.
The old caterpillars are becoming a little bit problematic. I put my bag down, I put it up on a tree, no matter where, my bag, I have to spend a little bit of time making sure that they're off it. I'm constantly keeping an eye on them to make sure that they're not getting crawled on. Now, I don't know if this has been done before in terms of like cryptids, Bigfoot, skinwalkers and whatnot. If people have tried putting the two together, paranormal investigation tools in those situations. If it hasn't been done before, maybe it should be. But we're going to finish up this coffee, start our first investigation of the day at the boneyard. So just to reiterate, the apps that we're using throughout this investigation supposedly work through electronic frequency or something like that. But it allows spirits or whatnot to communicate through the device.
As darkness falls, Johan prepares his paranormal equipment. He opens several ghost hunting apps and begins testing them, hoping they might detect or communicate with something unexplained. At first, nothing unusual happens. The readings remain quiet and the apps show no obvious signs of paranormal activity. While the devices stay silent, however, Johan's dogs begin acting differently.
DC was barking at something. You barking at something. What is it? She's on high alert. She's down there. You down there, DC? Is it? I hope that's Yeti. DC's off. She's gone. Torch. Fucking birds, huh? Birds squeeze people today. When the birds just take off, you just don't expect it. And then... Okay, Agu.
One of the dogs suddenly becomes alert and reacts to something nearby. A bird unexpectedly flies out of the area, briefly leading Johan to believe the dog had simply noticed wildlife, rather than anything threatening. Feeling somewhat reassured, he continues with the evening. But just as Johan prepares to use one of the apps again, the atmosphere changes. He hears something moving around the campsite and begins to suspect the sound is more than just the wind. His dog also appears uneasy and starts growling behind him.
I just heard some kind of... What the fuck, huh? Yeti? What's going on, Yeds? Yes, sir. Okay, you find that funny? Huh? Making noise? You find that funny? No? You don't have to live with her. Let me in on that secret. Test? You okay? What's the problem? I don't know why she's sitting right behind me growling. Test again? But I prefer it if you didn't growl at me, huh? Like, I don't mind during the daytime. You're sitting right behind me growling. What is that? Holy moly.
Sitting alone in the dark forest, Johan becomes increasingly uncomfortable because he cannot see what has drawn the animal's attention. Although the ghost hunting apps provide little useful information, Johan decides to continue. He remains calm and keeps asking questions, hoping for a clearer response.
So we're still waiting for this this person's name. Can I sit down? Is it safe? What the fuck is that? Huh?
Ralph.
Your name is what? Ralph. Jesus. Good timing, Ralph. I was just concentrating on something. What is this? I'm not really right where I was about to sit. It's hair. Dark hair. Okay, Ralph. Are you the dark figure that was watching us within the woods the last time we were here?
In the dark.
That was you. In the dark. You were the dark figure. Yes, I hear something. Yes, there. Eddie. Be alert, please. Walking around in there. We're right by this little trail. It's good.
I want it.
You want it? What is it that you want?
Sad.
Ralph, can you explain to me? Is that you I hear, Ralph? You're moving around. You're moving around, Ralph. Is that you? I don't know.
I'm right here.
Yeah. Okay. I don't know why the dogs aren't reacting to whatever's moving around in there. And why is that so zoomed in? Jesus. That's the scariest thing about this whole thing. So Ralph, you're right here with me. Do you want me to leave? Oh, it's such a bad headache. Do you want me to leave, Ralph?
I can't leave.
You can't leave. I know. So it was you I was speaking to earlier when you were saying you were stuck. Why can't you leave? Well, because you're stuck. Do you want me to leave?
Hello.
Hello. Is this someone else I'm speaking to? What is your name?
Sinful.
Sinful.
It's dark.
It's dark. Is it dark where you are? You're right here with me?
Hello.
Hello again. It's creepy, huh? Creepy stuff. Oh, what am I going to say? Are you a human being, Ralph? Or are you a different kind of entity? Because a lot of strange stuff happens here when we come here. Did you scratch my black dog? Was that you, Ralph? Definitely something walking around in there.
I'm not sure how.
You're not sure how to leave. How are you not hearing that, Yeti? Yes.
The devices begin producing strange words and replies while Johan hears movement coming from the dark woods surrounding the camp. Some of the responses seem to suggest that a presence named Ralph is nearby. Johan asks whether it is the same dark figure he believed had been watching them during an earlier visit. As the session continues, he hears what sounds like something moving near a small trail. Strangely, his dogs do not react to every noise, making the situation feel even more confusing. Johan continues asking whether the presence wants him to leave and why it can't leave the area. The app produces more unclear responses while movement still seems to come from somewhere beyond the campsite. Eventually, the strange answers and unexplained sounds become too unsettling. Before fear completely overwhelms him, Johan decides to end the investigation for the night. Even after climbing into his sleeping bag, he cannot fully relax. The uneasy feeling remains, making it difficult for him to fall asleep. The sounds may have come from animals moving beyond the light, and the app's responses may have been completely random. Still, with his dogs behaving strangely and something moving through the woods, what do you think was really surrounding Johan's campsite that night? Another realistic Bigfoot video comes from Alberta, Canada, a region well known for Sasquatch reports. The exact date is unknown, but the footage appears to be several years old and has received little attention. A group of hunters was searching for elk when they spotted a large herd moving through the area. One hunter began recording unaware the camera may have captured something unusual in the background. At normal speed, the figure is easy to overlook. When the footage is slowed and enlarged, a large shape becomes visible near the tree line as the elk move past. The figure appears tall, upright, and light brown with broad shoulders and a rounded head. Those features are commonly associated with Sasquatch reports. Because the video was recorded from a long distance using an older camera, the image is unclear. The person filming was focused on the elk and was not expecting to capture anything else. Adult bull elk can stand about 5 feet at the shoulder, yet the figure appears noticeably taller. If the scale is accurate, it would have been exceptionally large. The hunters may have overlooked it because their attention was on the herd. The figure may have approached the elk without noticing the people farther away. Distance can distort size, but the figure still appears unusually tall. Was something watching the herd, or did the trees simply create a human-like shape? This unusual footage appears to show a tall, completely black humanoid figure from only a few feet away. Its exact origin remains unknown. According to the available information, a hunter was walking through a dense forest when he encountered the unidentified figure at close range. The country and exact location were never revealed. However, the hunter speaks a language other than English, suggesting the video was recorded outside the United States. The figure appears extremely tall and entirely black, with eyes that seem to reflect toward the camera. Although the surrounding forest is well lit, its body remains so dark that almost no distinct features can be seen. Some viewers believe it could be Bigfoot, while others compare it to humanoid creatures described in legends from different parts of the world. Without a confirmed location, it's impossible to connect the figure to any specific legend. Its unusual appearance may be influenced by the camera lighting or distance, but the hunter was standing remarkably close. The darkness conceals many important details, yet the figure's height and glowing eyes remain difficult to ignore. Was this an unknown creature, or something ordinary, made far more disturbing by the camera? Two mysterious photographs recently surfaced, showing an older man with Bigfoot-like creatures outside a remote cabin. In one image, he is holding what appears to be a baby Sasquatch. In the other, he stands beside a much larger adult. The faded colors suggest the photographs may be old, although their exact date is unknown. According to the story, the unidentified man lived alone deep in a North American forest, far from other people. Over time, he supposedly earned the trust of a hidden group of Sasquatch living nearby. The creatures eventually accepted him, allowing the man to pose for photographs with them to preserve the experience. However, none of these claims have been verified. The man's identity, the cabin's location, and the photographer all remain unknown. Since the images surfaced only recently, additional information may still emerge. The first video was posted on June 10, 2026, while the second was uploaded on June 14, 2026. In the first recording, the sun was setting as darkness quickly covered the woods, while a woman explored the area alone. She often entered forests after dark while searching for unknown creatures.
They're around me. Feel it. Oh my God. Hello? Shit.
That evening, she began following strange knocking sounds from the trees, which some people associate with possible Bigfoot activity. As she moved toward where she believed the sounds had originated, they suddenly seemed to come from behind her. She quickly turned and zoomed in with her camera. A large dark figure stood upright within the shadows. It appeared extremely tall, with long arms and eyes that seemed to reflect light. The figure remained almost motionless for several moments. It then suddenly stepped from its hiding place and moved toward her. Frightened, she quickly left the area while checking whether it was following.
Okay. We're gonna keep walking. We're fine. Guys, I don't know if you saw that. I don't know which one it was.
4 days later, she returned to the same woods and streamed the investigation live. Early in the video, an entire tree began shaking, as though something large was moving it. Despite that, she continued deeper into the forest. She noticed shadows, heard whistling, and sensed movement around her. Soon afterward, another dark humanoid figure appeared, crouched within the brush.
Dude, what is that? What is that?
She pointed her flashlight toward it, briefly revealing the shape. She then backed away, but movement continued behind her as she left. After turning around, she captured the figure on camera again.
Is that it? Oh, now my lights want to work. What is that? Dude. Oh God, okay, please let me leave. I can't go live. I'm by myself. I'm freaking out here, man.
She eventually left the woods, believing she had collected enough evidence and that staying longer might put her in greater danger. This eerie Bigfoot video reportedly comes from Oklahoma. According to the caption, it shows a possible Bigfoot sprinting away after someone shouted toward it. A woman noticed an unidentified figure far in the distance and began recording.
Hey!
After she called out, a large dark shape suddenly raced across the open landscape at remarkable speed. The figure appeared to run upright on two legs, but its movement looked much faster and smoother than that of a person. It crossed the rough ground with a little visible effort. Because the figure was filmed from a great distance, its physical features are difficult to identify. However, its speed, agility, upright posture, dark appearance, and apparent size have led some viewers to believe it could be Bigfoot. Zooming in and applying filters provides a slightly clearer view. The figure still appears large and upright, although the limited image quality prevents a definite identification. The footage was reportedly recorded many years ago, which may explain the poor video quality. However, it only began circulating recently. Oklahoma has a long history of Bigfoot stories, and is considered one of the most active regions for reported sightings in the southern United States. Its dense forest, rivers, valleys, swamps, and rugged hills have inspired stories of large unknown creatures for generations. Similar beings appeared in Native American traditions long before modern Bigfoot reports gained attention in the mid-1900s. Hunters, fishermen, campers, and rural residents later described large hairy figures moving through wooded areas, helping shape Oklahoma's modern Bigfoot legend. That's it for tonight. Which moment creep? Drop it in the comments. Have your own story, share it with us, and stay tuned. The next one is even darker.